All right. I think we finally figured this out. So I am making a zine about Showgirls, and it's going to be my September issue. And I need to make a lot of art for it. I thought I would do a lot of illustrations for the zine, a lot of paintings. And specifically, I wanted to focus on Nomi Malone's makeup looks because she has some really incredible makeup looks and they vary quite a lot depending on what she's doing and how she's feeling. So I watched the movie the other night, and what I like to do when I'm about to take reference photos is I will watch the movie and take pictures with my camera. And now my camera roll is just full of Showgirls because every single scene had something that I wanted to paint. So we're going to paint a scene where Nomi is auditioning for one of the roles in the Goddess show. So let me find the reference again. Okay, so we're painting this. This is where she's auditioning. And let's go. So in my last full-length video, I painted another painting of Showgirls using the Zorn Palette, which is 4 colours: ivory black, titanium white, yellow ochre, and cadmium red light. And in the last scroller box, we got this Winsor & Newton watercolour palette, and it's already been well loved. Cadmium red, yellow ochre, white, and I have an ivory black tube separate. So I have the Zorn palette in this little half pan set of Winsor & Newton colours. So we're going to do another Zorn palette painting today, but in watercolour. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to be different to the acrylic painting that I did. Find some brushes. So let's go. I'm just going to mix up a skin tone in cad, red, yellow ochre, and the white. I don't usually use watercolors vertically. So we're going to have some drips, I think. But that might look cool. I just thought it'd be easier to paint this way for the stream. I love painting in watercolors because I can paint really fast. Although that also leads me to not leaving enough time for layers to dry. get a bit impatient. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. So I've been doing live streaming over on TikTok. And it's been good because I can listen to my own music without there being any copyright issues. But I found this YouTube channel, and I'll link it below when I'm finished. And it's all copyright-free music for streaming. Because I didn't want to just sit here painting, either talking to myself or sitting in silence. I thought at least if there's some music in the background and I'm not talking, it won't be so awkward. So I just added some more of the cad red to the skin tone that I'd made to warm it up a bit. And with watercolour, I try not to paint where I want to keep the highlights because I don't have a white. Well, we have a white, but white in watercolour doesn't really add, like it's not opaque. So you can't sort of really use it as a paint on top to add in highlights. So I try and paint around where I want to leave the lightest parts of the painting. So the highlights will be the white of the paper rather than paint. So now that I've got my music sorted out, I like the idea of streaming on YouTube because I can keep the video up as the full stream after the live stream. So if you ever need someone to paint along with, the video will be there for you. And you can just chuck on your own music. Now I'm going to add in some black with the red. I'm just mixing everything on this little palette. I'm going to try and mix a green for her eyes. Actually, you know what? I'm going to be patient for once. I'm not going to paint that bit yet. We'll have to do some hair. Now the cats are both in here, but they're fast asleep, so hopefully we can get through this without too much trouble. Because as much as everyone loves to see them, they love to step in wet paint. Now, Showgirls came out in 1995, and I don't remember when I first saw it. Like, I don't think I saw it in cinemas, but it was definitely on my radar because one, Carl McLaughlin was in it, and I love Twin Peaks. And two, it was directed by Paul Verhoeven and written by Joel Esterhaas, who did Basic Instinct. And I'm pretty sure I saw that at the movies. So I knew of them, but I'm pretty sure I didn't see Showgirls at the movies. Maybe, I don't even know if it got a cinema release here. But it quickly became infamous for being one of the worst movies. And, like, I can see why people didn't like it. The acting is crazy. But that's what's so amazing about it. And I love that Elizabeth Berkley now can, because it kind of ruined her career. But it's found a life outside of that initial release with people who love like campy cult movies. And they did a screening at, oh, I can't remember what it's called. There's a cemetery in LA and they do outdoor movie screenings, and I've been to one and it's such a fun time. But they did a screening of Showgirls and she was there, and it was just so cool to see that she could, you know, watch it with an audience that appreciates it and loves it. Because she did exactly what she was directed to do. And her performance is crazy. Like, it's so over the top. But if you love those, you know, if you've seen Mummy Dearest with Faye Dunaway, if you've seen that and you like that, then you would love Showgirls, because it's a similar kind of performance. It's very dramatic, very over the top. I've just never seen anyone on screen who every single thing they do is just so aggressive. Like, all her movements. So the movie starts with her hitchhiking to Las Vegas to become a dancer. And I'm probably going to give spoilers. The guy who picks her up drops her at the casino when they get to Vegas and says, I'll be back in a second. I've just got to like catch up with my relative or whatever. Here's some money to play the slot machines. So she's really excited and she wins like her first go. So she's stoked. And then, you know, the way gambling is, she keeps playing and loses and gets really frustrated. And then loses all the money. Realizes that the guy hasn't come back. And when she goes out, she can't find him and goes out into the parking lot where he'd parked the car, and he's gone with all her stuff. So she's obviously very upset and just starts hitting this car that she's standing next to. And the woman who owns the car comes up to her and she's like, hey, well, what's that? You know, that's my car, stop it. So she tries to start a fight with the woman, and that ends up being, her name is Molly, and she lives and works in Vegas. She's a local, and takes Nomi out to eat and befriends her, and she's an angel. But Nomi is like, everything she does is just so aggressive. And they're sitting there in the restaurant and she's got like fries and a burger, I think. And Molly's like, so where are you from? And Nomi just throws everything on the table and just screams out, different places. And it's so hilarious. It's so, so funny. I can't imagine anybody else being able to do this performance in such a way it's so authentic, and it's not like Kyle MacLachlan said, they were told that they were making a really serious drama at the time that they were filming. But some people have sort of backtracked over the years and gone, oh, it was intentionally like over the top and tongue in cheek and that sort of thing. But I think that was only because of the sort of backlash and the critical response to it when it came out. And it got nominated for a ton of Razzies. And the director actually was the first director ever nominated to actually go and accept the award for like worst director. And he's made some incredible movies. I think Showgirls is also incredible. Like, it's not for everyone. There is a lot of nudity. So if you're not into that or okay with that, you probably won't like it. And there's a really brutal assault scene at the end of the film. And honestly, the last couple of times I've watched it, I've just skipped past that because it's really intense. Like, I understand why it's crucial to the movie, but this is my thought on assault scenes in general in films, is that we can know that it happens without it being so explicit on the screen. Like, we don't need to see it, you know? And it's interesting because that scene and how Nomi reacts to that, the assault doesn't happen to her, it happens to Molly, who's like the sweetest angel, who's the best character in the whole film. Like, there's nothing bad about her, she's just pure goodness. And it's awful that the assault happens to her. Again, lots of spoilers. But it's the way that Nomi reacts to that is, awesome. And it's in that scene where I was thinking about how, like, her look in that scene is so dramatically different to her look in the whole rest of the movie, like when she goes to get revenge. And I was thinking about that and how she has very specific makeup and hair looks depending on what she's doing, where she's going, what her intentions are. So that got me thinking about how in the zine I want to have a whole bunch of illustrations focusing on those different makeup looks and like telling the story of the movie through those looks. I think because I used to be a makeup artist, I'm always interested in that specifically. Like, her looks are almost like an extra character in the movie. Okay, so the Zorn palette in watercolors isn't as versatile as when I did the acrylics. I'm finding it a bit more difficult to create as many colors, but that's okay. So Nomi loves a bit of eyeliner. She loves a dramatic eye and an overlined lip. Hi, yeah, I'm live. Just been talking to myself here. Trying to explain some of the Showgirls lore. I find streaming really fun. If I'm going to be sitting here painting anyway, I thought I might as well just go live and, you know, see who's here, who wants to hang out, and have the process recorded for later. I always find it interesting to see how everyone's work evolves from the early stages to how they finish up. Oh, you did? You tried the Zorn palette? How'd you go? I'm using the Zorn palette in this, but in watercolor, and it's a bit more difficult to get the variety of shades, but I'm still making it work. I guess because it's just so transparent. You don't get... Oh, yeah, you only need a tiny bit of that red, lots of white. Did you use acrylics? Oh, gouache. Yeah, I haven't tried it in gouache. I might try that next. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yellow ochre is just such a versatile colour. Oh, I love music. Like, it's just been such a huge part of my life for so long. And I was a live music photographer for so long. It's just always been part of my life. My first show was Cyndi Lauper when I was 12. So that just set me off, like, blew my mind. I my photography sort of comes through in my zine more. Um, but I sort of had some ideas to maybe do some like collage with photography, with my photos and mixed media artwork like around that somehow, but I haven't sort of experimented with that yet. I was doing a lot of double exposure self portraits in lockdown because like I was a live music photographer and there was no gigs. And they were really cool. I really loved those and I made those into a zine earlier in the year. But I sort of had this idea about, yeah, doing more artwork with them. So yeah, it's cooking in my brain in the back there somewhere. But the zine I just put out, issue 8, was all live music photography. Now, Nomi went to this audition in a lovely, dramatic, smoky eye. And she loves a black eyeliner. The cats are great. They're fast asleep at the moment. They're both in here with me. Evie's on the printer, which is wonderful. And Echo is on the new cat tower I got them. So I think I've timed this perfectly because they're having their mid-morning, early afternoon nap. which means they're not walking in my paint, which is what they usually do. Where's my favourite little brush? Who do I watch on YouTube? I watch, like for art stuff, I watch Sophie McPike. Love her videos. I watch a lot of like reaction videos to early 2000s reality shows, which is quite niche, but I love watching. There's a photographer that I watch and she reacts to old episodes of America's Next Top Model. Oh, her name's Jessica. Oh, I can't think of her last name. And I watched Luxaria, who also does a lot of reactions to things like What Not to Wear, Top Model, and all those like terrible plastic surgery shows from that era. She's so funny. I remember all those shows. Another artist I love on here is I'm a Wonder. Her art is beautiful. She does live streams too. I picked up this brush recently and it is so good. It's so tiny, but the angle on it, absolutely love it. You were so good at portraits. Did you start drawing at a young age? Thank you. I did. I was always drawing. And I was obsessed with drawing Snoopy. And I used to draw Snoopy all the time. And then when I was 12, we took a family trip to Canberra to the National Gallery. And there was this pop art exhibition on, and I'd never seen anything like that. And it just made art feel so accessible to me because it's really bright colours and cartoony. And like, I think previous to that, I'd thought that, you know, serious art was something that was very different to that and not something that I could really do. But then I was like, actually, no, I think I can do this. And yeah, so I just did art all through school. And I've always loved portraits. I don't know, I just find people really interesting, and I love to try and capture emotion, and that's what my photography is like too. Like, it was always like I wanted to try and capture the emotion of the feeling that I get when I see live music. So that was always my intention with that. I stopped doing art for a long time, actually. Life got in the way. But it's so good to be back painting again regularly. And it's like, I know a lot of people sort of, I'm concentrating on these lashes, got back in touch with their creative sides during lockdown, but I was an essential worker. So I was going to work every day with the public. So I sort of lost my creative outlet with photography because that had all shut down. And I was in this really stressful work environment because customers were really upset and angry every day, which is fair. You know, it was a very stressful time for everyone. But I didn't have the sort of luxury to be at home. Like, I was out at work every day. And only having that and no other outlet was really making me kind of crazy. So I sort of got back into my visual art as a way to try and survive that time. Not because I was sort of at home with nothing else to do, you know. So it was a blessing in the end. keep making vids. They're very inspiring to me. I really appreciate that. That's all I could ever hope for, you know? That's amazing. Thank you. I started doing the videos just as a way to keep myself accountable, because I had to, like, I kept myself on a schedule of, you know, making a video every week, which I've stuck to. And because I know in the past, you know, when other things happened, art was the first thing I would drop, you know, and I don't ever want to be back in that place again. So having the videos and, you know, having to make anything for the channel every week keeps me inspired, you know, it keeps me at it. So if it's helping to inspire anyone else, then that is amazing. Oh, my neighbours. Hi.
Did you have that big bang last night?
No, I didn't.
About 8, 9 o'clock?
No, I didn't.
Giant. I thought there was a tree falling.
No, I didn't hear that.
You didn't hear it?
No.
Everything's okay for you?
Yeah, yeah. Bye. My neighbour likes to pop by for a chat. So that was my neighbour. It was really windy here last night. She was just checking that everything's okay. It's got a lot of big trees in the area. Yeah, my neighbours are amazing. I'm so lucky. I love where I live. She said she heard a big bang around 8 or 9 o'clock, but I was watching trashy movies on TV, on Tubi, sorry, at that time, so I wouldn't have heard anything at that time. Because if you hadn't guessed by now, I love a trashy movie. And a friend of mine has this amazing podcast called I Hope You Suffer, and they just review and talk about the wildest movies you've ever or never heard of. So I watched Amanda and the Alien and Tammy and the T-Rex last night at that time that apparently the big crash happened. I think we're almost done. I'll do a little bit of a background. She does a bit. She does. And there's a scene at the end when she's in the goddess show. Her makeup Like, I swear Chapel Roan was inspired by this movie because there's a look at the end where she's got this like winged black liner with like gems all around. It's very Chapel. And I would be absolutely thrilled if Chapel was inspired by this movie. So Elizabeth Berkley was in Saved by the Bell. So she went from being in this like wholesome show to the most outrageous movie ever, where she's pretty much naked like in the entire film. And it kind of ruined her career, unfortunately. But she's so good in it. It's just misunderstood. Yes, I have seen Bound, and I did watch it again just pretty recently, like earlier in the year, I think. She's so good. She's great in Showgirls. Yeah, late 90s. So Bound, I think, was 96 or 97. And Showgirls was 1995. And it's funny because Kyle MacLachlan is in it too. And I always almost forget that he's in it because there's so much else happening. Like, I love Kyle MacLachlan, and to think that he's like the least sort of one of the least impactful things in Showgirls says a lot about Showgirls. I think I'm going to leave it there. Let me just pull this off. There is our little Nomi Malone on her way to her audition for the Goddess show in Showgirls. So I have a ton more sketches planned. Where are they? I still have all of these little ones that I have to paint because I'm in Showgirls heaven at the moment. So inspired. Every single scene is inspiring me. So I'm definitely going to be doing some more paintings. But I'm going to call this finished. And I want to thank you for watching and hanging out with me while I paint this. It's been really, really fun. And I'm going to try and do a live stream once a fortnight. So maybe like around this time again. But I'll keep you all posted in the community tab, community post page thingy. All right, thank you so much. Thanks for being here and all your support always. I'll see you around. I don't know how to end this. This is my first one. How do I end it?